Is this the worst West Indies team of all time? That's the question I have been asking myself from 6 o'clock this morning. There was a match in England, a test match between West Indies and England. Jimmy Adams was the captain. I didn't get a chance to research the exact match, but I know people in the chat. I know persons in the chat will tell me the date. When the West Indies was bowled out twice in one day, yes, 3 innings, West Indies batted, bowled out, we bowled out England, and England bowled us out back again. All of that happened in one day, a test match. Jimmy Adams was the captain. But this performance from this team, I think, pale in comparison to the attitudes of those guys. Yes, they were bowled out twice in one day, but the attitude of these guys could not be lower. They are not playing with any pride. Hello everyone, good night and welcome to the show. Please slash a like on the video, share and subscribe. I want to apologize for the late start. When I set the show to start at 8:05, I knew it was going to be a difficult day and I was giving myself as much time as possible to finish what I was doing and to get to the studio to do the show. I reached here sometime after 8. I had a shower and I have not eaten yet. But I need to do the show because I set it for 8:05. I want to apologize for the late start. Last night, I started watching the match 23 minutes after it started. Chanderpaul gone. Holder gone. A careless drive by Holder. A lack of concentration by Chanderpaul. And the hope of West Indies batting out the third day's play disappeared within a few minutes. And it got worse. Phillip, who we're hoping would give us an half century, and we would have enjoyed that, decided to run himself out also. Just in my opinion, that Chanderpaul ran himself out also. That's my opinion. There's a poll in the community. I do not know the result of that poll because, as I said, I had a very busy day and I have been unable to catch up. But there's a poll in the community about Chanderpaul decision, whether it was Chanderpaul call or whether it was Chanderpaul mistake or Phillip or none of them. My answer, I think it was Chanderpaul mistake. Catastrophic. Even when we were fielding, what a display in that second innings. Australia was on the go and we dropped 4 catches. 4 catches. I still cannot believe the one that Joseph dropped. I don't know about you, but it is becoming more and more difficult to watch the West Indies team play. They do not have the attitude. They cannot bat. They cannot bowl. They cannot field. And on top of that, they are arrogant and cocky and they do not have any pride. Where is this set of losers get that attitude from? The thing about it that we must remember and we must be conscious of, and they must be conscious of it, that when they are gone, there will still be West Indies cricket. And so we, the stakeholder of West Indies cricket, cannot continue to let these guys get away with this level of performance. It's atrocious. It is sickening. It is hurtful. They are not trying. No one can tell me that these guys are really trying. Look at that catch that Joseph dropped. Where the hell was Chanderpaul running to? How Phillips to hit the ball straight to the man at cover and took off? What is going through these guys' mind? Were they trying to end the match yesterday? No. Chanderpaul and Brathwaite would have done reasonably well on the tour. But collectively as a batting unit, they were disgraceful. The team has been disgraceful, especially in this test match. We try our best to be enthusiastic and to be positive and to be hopeful. But the more we are hopeful, the more we lower the bar. It's like these guys want us to take the bar lower. But we cannot take it any lower. We cannot continue to wait and hope for miracles. 38 for 4. I know that 2 years ago, at this same venue, Australia bowled out India for 36. But those things will happen. And that is a one-off. When you look at this West Indies team, every time they batted, you fret. You worried. You scared about them. And in one over, in that 6th over bowled by Boland last night, the first ball, Brathwaite nick off. You could say that is a Jaffa. And Brathwaite is the only centurion in the series for the West Indies. He got a Jaffa. Brooks didn't look like he was watching the ball, albeit it was an inducker. The ball induct, what he needed was to push right out. What Blackwood was doing, flicking to mid-wicket. The bowler is getting the ball to shape away from them. And he was flicking to mid-wicket. And Chanderpaul, a good start. I don't want to bash him too hard. But what kind of shot was that? Following up and you losing concentration and running out yourself. You then followed up that with another embarrassing dismissal. I think in cricket they call it strangled down the leg side. Chanderpaul was strangled down the leg side. This West Indies team, we must call a spade a spade. They are the worst West Indies team of all time. And there's no getting away from that. Needing 497 to win, they are 38 for 4. And thanks be to Alden Thomas, that match could have ended last night. How many of you were worried that the match was going to end last night and will not go into a 4th day? How many of you? And the only reason why the match is going into a 4th day now is because Australia did not enforce the follow-on because they are saving the legs of their bowlers and they want them to get a rest. They did not want them to come back out and bowl right away. It is time. It is time we call a spade, and these guys must be held accountable. Let me take some of your comments. Put on my glasses. Good night. Hey, now you know how Alzara feel when they drop catches off his bowling. Well, thank you, 007. Dane, it has been painful to watch the West Indies players play for decades. It is becoming more and more painful. Every time you hope for a miracle, let me go through the comment quickly. Coach is gone. This is last match. I want to say something about the coach, but I'm just running through the comments because there are so many of them. Me was scared. Yes, I was scared, number 7. I was scared. The batting and bowling coach will follow Simmons, judging from these performances. I think the team is a Simmons team. The staff that is there is a Simmons staff. So once Simmons go, the rest of them should go. No one should stay. They're saving players for next week test versus South Africa. Yes, 007. That's the only reason why they did not enforce the follow-up. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. Now, let me say something about the coach. Do you realize that from October, Phil Simmons resigned, and it's only one person has came forward and said that they want to be the coach of the West Indies. One, and that is Curtly Ambrose. Nobody want to coach this team. None. Why is it that no one want to coach the team? The players in this team, believe it or not, as poor as they are, this is a team with player power. The players in this team have more power than the coach and the administration of Cricket West Indies. And until that change, the performance will not improve. I am telling you, these players are getting away with anything and everything. The only time that these players are early, except for Edmire, is when they need to catch a flight. That's the only time that these players are early. They do not turn up to training late. A number of these players, if the coach plan a training session for, say, 9 o'clock, they don't reach the ground until after 9. Sometimes the bus is late leaving the hotel because you have to go and knock up people in their room. And these are professional guys getting $8,000 to play a test match. And that is more than what the Pakistanis are getting. I think under the English, the Australian, the Indians, and the South African gets more than the West Indies. $8,000. If you put that in Jamaican currency, it's $1.2 million to play one test match. 50% of the Jamaican population do not get 1.2 million for the year for their salary. And these guys are getting $8,000 to play a test match. Plus every day, I think they get $75 for meal allowance every day. Although they are staying at an hotel and food is provided also at the match. They still get the $75 every day for meal allowance. And you have to go to their hotel room and knock them up to go to training. There's too much player powers in this team. You set a drill for them and they don't do the drill with the intensity. The next thing is that the preparation of this team. And do you ever watch the West Indies team train? Like if a test match is playing in Barbados, or a game is playing in Barbados, and they would be in Barbados a few days before and they will go to Kensington Oval to train. Do you ever watch them train? After watching the West Indies team train for 10 minutes, you can't watch them anymore. No? You can't. There's no intensity. There's no purpose. You're confused of what they're doing. Then you cannot watch them. And when you watch the other teams train, you don't even look at your cell phone. When New Zealand was here the other day and you watch the New Zealand team training, you don't even have time to look at your cell phone. When the West Indies team is training, you spend most of your time looking at your cell phone because there's no intensity, there's no planning, there's no organization. And that is not only preparing for a match. It's not only when you turn up to West Indies camp is a problem. It's that these guys are not training on their own. You heard of Steve Smith and Labus Chain batting 3,000 balls per day. These West Indies guys, they come to training and they lay for 2 hours and go back to the comfort of their hotel rooms. The player power in this team must dissipate for the team to perform better. It must. Their work ethics is poor, and it is obvious for all to see. The work ethics of this team is very poor. To be honest with you, I don't think I'm watching the match tonight. They are a disgrace. It must stop. It's time it stopped. This West Indies team. There need to be a revamp. And Skerritt must come out and say something and stop the political speech. Some of these guys don't fit to wear the color. They should not be there. It's a disgrace. What's wrong with them? You lose your rest, you hope, and you try to build enthusiasm. And it's like the more you try to build enthusiasm, is the more these guys let you down. And they think they are hit. They are not hit if they think they are hit. What's wrong with them? Tell me, what's wrong with them? And I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. Also, Giovanni Reid, good night. Also, part of the problem is West Indies only play like 6 tests a year, while others play like 10 plus. That's part of the problem. For the cycle that is coming up starting 2023, West Indies will be playing 26 test matches. Only 26 test matches. Over the next 4 years, West Indies will be playing only 26 test matches. I'm going to get the exact figure. I think they're playing 73 T20 matches in the next Futures Tour cycle. West Indies will be playing only 26 test matches for the 4 years of the next Futures Tour cycle. So 6-4 is 24, and I think it's 26. The next broadcast, I will get the exact figure for you. So 6 tests a year, you are dead right, Giovanni Reid. For the next 4 years, they'll be playing only 26 tests. Only 26 tests for the next 4 years. Judging from the fitness of most of our players, I believe these guys are not serious. They are not. They are not serious playing for the Maroons. They are not. They are not. They are not. Jamor, small show. West Indies need to rebuild themselves and take the game more serious. True. That is true. Giovanni Reid. 2019 is the last time we have a full first-class season. That is true. That is true. Cricket Forum is angry. Kenry Camber. Kenry Camber. Tell me the truth, Kenry Camber. Are you not angry? Are you not upset? Mr. O's, it's time for older Brooks Blackwood to be dropped and question gonna be asked about the silver too. We need to stop excuses from these players. It's time for them to go, Kurt. It is time. We need and it's not only the players and the coach. The selectors must go too. The president must go too. The CEO must go too. The CEO. Cricket is not even a top 3 sport in Jamaica, which is a major problem. Track and field and football, I think it is a top 3, to be honest. Yes, 26. Thank you, W7. It's 26 over the next cycle. How many ODI? 46 ODI and 73 T20, something like that. They play 6 test matches a year because they do not draw spectators to the ground anymore. They are not a good investment. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Dane. Thank you for that. Now, look here. This thing is serious. Now, I have some figures on the board here. My figures that I calculate are higher than these on the board and the screen. Between 2026 and the end of 2023, between 2016, sorry, get this right. between 2016, January 2016, and the end of 2023, next year, December, the West Indies would have gotten 117 million from the ICC, 117 million US dollars. They would get the same like Australia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, New Zealand, South Africa, and so on. England get a little more, 127, and India got 371 million. The figures are there. My calculation tells me that it's not 117, it's 128. But I'm using 117 because that's the figure that Forbes magazine is reporting. And because when it comes to financial matters, Forbes magazine are more reputable than I. $117 million. It works out to be about 1.2 million every month. My figure is about 1.3 every month. But let's go with Forbes magazine figure. That is the money that Cricket West Indies is getting from the ICC every month because they're a full member. They are a full member nation, the West Indies. Now, if you see there, you see Zimbabwe get 86 over the same 8-year period. Afghanistan and Ireland only get 37 million each over that 8-year period. The associate members like the US and so on, which is 92 of them, they have to share $180 million amongst themselves for the 8th year. So that is the money. My concern is, and now come January 2024, listen to me, come January 2024, my calculation is that instead of getting 1.2 million per month, they will be getting $4 million per month come January 2024. That is what my calculation is telling me. They and Australia and Bangladesh and Pakistan will roughly be getting that per month, $4 million US dollars per month. That is what my, and I challenge anyone to disagree with those figures that come 2024 January, the West Indies should be getting $4 million US dollars per month, being a full member nation of the ICC. My concern is that suppose we continue to perform so bad and nations like Afghanistan and Ireland and the associate members and Zimbabwe are saying that the West Indies is getting too much. And when they go to these general meeting and vote, they vote down the West Indies share. What is going to happen? That is my concern. We already do not have a sponsor. We already do not have a sponsor on the front of our shirt. And if we should lose that $4 million per month that we are scheduled to get come the 1st of January, what is going to happen to the cricket? We already do not have a sponsor. That is why I'm telling you that performance is important. Continue to be living off the legacy of the greats like Lara. And did you see how Lara took out Rashid Khan last night? How many of you saw it? Yes, between the dinner break, during the dinner break, Rashid Khan was bowling to Lara. And Lara took him out. Did you saw it? So these guys who are living off the legacy of those greats with their cocky self are not setting any future for the future generation of West Indies cricket. And if we continue to accept these level of performance, West Indies cricket is going to become cash-strapped, and the next generation of cricketers will be paupers. Because I cannot see these countries, especially Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, Ireland, and the associate members, not complaining about the amount of money that West Indies is getting, and they are not performing. I cannot see it continue to happen. And this is very disturbing. So I hope, Skerrit, And they said that Skerrit, I think Skerrit should not wait until March. Come to think of it, they need to call an emergency general meeting and vote in a new president who we hope will take this thing forward in a better way. Because the players have too much power. Their work ethics is poor. Their preparation is poor. They are not meeting targets that are set for them. And the physical test that West Indies is talking about, it is nonsense. They only use it as an excuse when they want to leave out a player. Too much politics. I know players on that team who have not passed the test, and they pick them same way. Well, not necessarily the test team, but the T20 and the ODI team. We need to set the standard. And this West Indies cricket is causing too much pain for people. It's time that they pack their bags and go. Look at my earlier text, Giovanni Reid. It's going to be difficult, but I will look at it and comment on it another time. Brooks Banner Blackwood Ola need a break from test 007. Tomorrow morning, remember Skerrit took us out of debt? Giovanni Reid. That's Giovanni Reid. The job of Cricket West Indies is to perform on the field. If we are not performing, we are debt-free now, and I know that. We are debt-free now. But if we are not performing, we'll soon go back in that debt. So fine, applaud Skerrit to take us out of debt. But that's just 50% of the job or 30% of the job. Nothing wrong to be in debt if you are winning. Nothing wrong. All right, let me give you an example, Giovanni Reid. I spoke about the $4 million US dollars that we are to get per month come January. If the team is winning and that one out of that 4 million is going to repay some debt every month, nothing really wrong with it. If we borrow some money and invest in the team and the team start winning, that would be a more comprehensive way of taking us out of debt. Skerrit should be congratulated for taking us out of debt. I heard that West Indies cricket is liquid. Cricket West Indies is liquid, that they have cash, right? You are now saying that Skerrit was the one who did it. If that is so, I applaud him. But that's not even 50% of the job of what West Indies cricket is really about. Ains must go. He mostly picking his fellow countrymen. That's why we should get an overseas coach. Nobody want the job. Kurt, I'm mute. Nobody want the job. Nobody want the job. Because these players are uncontrollable and they're not good. Jimbo loves short ball and fast bowling. He should be in Australia, but no screw him over for a chase. Now Jimbo making money in franchise. Do you know that Australia, South Africa, and English high schools got part facilities than our domestic team? Got part facilities. Yeah. Oh, you're saying that the facilities at these schools are higher than what we have in the region. Bring back the West All League and the Shell Shield Combined Ireland et al. That is Keith Aaron. We need to do something. I welcome all of those comments. We need to do something. Now, please smash a like on the video, share and subscribe. I don't know if I'm going to watch the match this evening. I'm going to get something to eat and relax and just try to calm down. I don't know if I'm going to watch the match. But what I'm asking this community to do, I want you to list the 16 players that are in Australia and mark each of them out of 10. And tomorrow morning, we are going to come and discuss their performance out of 10. and see, and we're going to really take a look who should never play for the West Indies again unless they change their attitude and they show us that they have the ability. So I'm asking you, please write down the 16 players' names that are in Australia and score each of them performance out of 10. 5 being average. And so we are going to score each of them out of 10. I'm asking you to do that. I don't know if I can tell you to have a good night, but please try and make it as best as possible. I don't agree with you. It's the responsibility of the territorial board to produce quality players for the West Indies. Sachin Singh, that's a nice topic. That's a nice topic. And if I wasn't hungry, I would get into it with you. And I don't agree with you in part. I think that West Indies, Cricket West Indies, the money comes to them. The ICC send the money to Cricket West Indies. I'm just trying to brief as possible. ICC send the money to Cricket West Indies. Cricket West Indies then send the money to the territorial board. In my humble opinion, I think the territorial board should not get the money unless they meet the standards that Cricket West Indies set. So in part, I agree with you that the boards, the territorial boards like the Jamaica, the Guyana, the Barbados, they are responsible for producing the cricketers for the West Indies. But Cricket West Indies have overall responsibility of those boards. So yes, the boards must produce it, but Cricket West Indies can influence they producing it. So for example, you're going to say, you give just a figure. You are sending 150,000 a month to Jamaica. Now, before Jamaica can get that 150,000 on the 1st of January, they would have task that they should have completed by the 30th of November before they can get that money the 1st of January. You understand what I'm saying, Sachin Singh? So I agree with you in part of what you're saying. But I'm saying the overall responsibility lies with the West Indies Cricket Board. And that is where the West Indies Cricket Board needs to set standards for the regional board. And say, for just, I just off the top of my head, how many players do you have in Jamaica? So they said to JCA, we need you to have 15 players in training because these are the 15 players that were contracted. At the end of November, we are going to send our persons to test them. We are going to see how many times they are hitting the spot, how many balls they are batting per day, how many laps they are running per day. Just an idea. So you just set standards. And if those standards are not met, then no money should be disbursed to the territorial board. It's a discussion that can take all day, Sachin Singh. But I would say again, I agree with you in some part, but West Indies have overriding responsibility for it. This is a thing of the past. West Indies cricketers are rude, disrespectful. Some don't show up for practice. I heard that right out of Chris Gale's mouth. He didn't show up for all practices. Arlen Williams said those words. We are getting information that players are staying in their hotel room when they should come to practice. Give up some white ball matches for more red ball games. They are not going to do that because it's in the money. The money is in the white ball cricket. 17, 007, it was 17. Double test cricket lose money, white ball make money. West Indies need to put a cricket academy in each territory. Well, it goes back to what Sachin Singh is saying Giovanni Reid. The territorial board needs to do that. What Cricket West Indies need to do is to set the standard that those board should meet. That's my thought process. Set the standard what those boards should meet. So a guy who should come to training at 8 o'clock in the so am I back on? Why this internet gone? Am I okay? I'm on. Thanks. So as I was saying, if they should report to training at 8 o'clock in the morning and should train until 5 o'clock, what is so hard for these guys to report to training at 8 o'clock in the morning and leave at 5 o'clock, get their 1 hour lunch break, just like any other worker? After all, they are getting $1,532 a month. That's more than what the average worker in all our countries are getting. The average worker in our countries do not get $1,532 a month, and they have to go to work from 8 to 5 every day, 5 days a week. So why these players? Why are they not on the training ground every day of the week, meeting standards that are set in collaboration with the JCA, with the regional bodies, and with Cricket West Indies? Why? That's what the question I'm asking. Why? What standards? West Indies standards lower than the territorial boards. And that why double seven, you beat hard. The Caribbean needs more matches. True. I think we should be playing at least 15 first-class matches each year. Sashim, I totally agree with you. I agree. But the territorial board members pick the president and make up the executive. So I don't think they will make themselves accountable. And this is what I'm saying, Sachin. We are the stakeholders. We are the guardians of West Indies cricket right now. West Indies cricket is bigger than you and I. It is bigger than Ricky Skerritt. It is bigger than all of them. And when they are gone, there will still be West Indies cricket. And if we don't start putting pressure on them to do the right thing, it is dark for the future generation. It is dark. Somebody asked the question in the chat. What the other countries are doing that West Indies is not doing? The other countries don't have player powers. The other country have a good president. Like, take the Bangladeshi president, for example. You don't mess around with Bangladesh. You know? The president ensure that you don't mess around. The other day, the coach was asked to carry out a function, and he did not carry it out. He did not go to the World Cup. The president said we do not need him at the World Cup. So the Bangladeshi team was at the T20 World Cup earlier this year without a head coach. We need strong leaders. Thank you all for tuning in. Please slash a like on the video, share and subscribe. And tomorrow morning, we'll come back and rate the players. We'll do a player ratings tomorrow morning. I apologize once again for being late, and I apologize for getting hungry. But West Indies cricket is bothering me. Thank you all for tuning in. Please have a good night. Take care.